마지막 케이스발에 노베스입니다. 이제 다르게 이게 단지 주고서서 기술들이 많아서 그래 내가 개발하는 상황 분들수를 노베스가 다르게 기술들이나 실고 말씀드리고 그냥 먼저 아와소리야 이제 이거 중에 잘하시고 그게 하나들은 먼저 딱 받으셔도 분들수에 우리 기술고 그래서 이제 실동선 지냐고 상수가 그런 이런 재리를 책을 해보시다 내가 어서 이세기 이송자 인계동네가 주변적으로 상수 notice. So this message is for everyone, especially our younger generation. So I'll be speaking in English. First of all, I would like to extend a warm greeting to everybody, including our chief guests and teachers, parents, and the students. We have all gathered here to celebrate a day of great importance to us. It's been now 35 years since His Holiness the Dalai Lama received the Nobel Peace Prize Award back in '89, when many of you guys were not even born. As you know, on top of working tirelessly for the Tibetan people, His Holiness has been trying to enlighten humanity to follow the path of non-violence and peace. In connection with his far-sighted vision, Kundun traveled to many countries throughout his 80s, 90s, and 2000s. And that's when he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in '89. And you also know that our Tibetan brothers and sisters across the world and millions of them celebrate this special occasion. Since Gautama Buddha is a living Buddha and cannot even begin to enumerate the spiders of wonderful qualities and great deeds, therefore I'll just give you a brief biography to express our gratitude and respect. Some of you may know, some of you may not, historically. Kundun was born in Tatsei in 1935, on July 6th, that's when we celebrate Tunga, right? To our great fortune, the search committee found the right reincarnation of the great 13th Dalai Lama when Kundun was a small child. The Tibetan government wasted no time in inviting Kundun to Lhasa, and he was officially recognized as and endorsed as the 14th Dalai Lama for the palace. And in line with tradition, his Dharma education too started at a very young, early age. His Yongzingling Rinpoche and Jitang Rinpoche were his tutors. And as you know, back in the days, and even now, China being the big superpower, they had major development and it impacted our country then as well. CCP, led by Mao Zedong, came into power in the 40s and unfortunately led their great infiltrated power into our border and eventually reached the capital of Lhasa. Initially, they presented friendly and advocated to quote-unquote liberate us. The Chinese government invited Kundun to attend China's National Congress back in '54, which Kundun attended along with Panchen Rinpoche. And in '56, Gyalwar Rinpoche was also invited to celebration of the 2500 Buddha Jayanti. The Indian government, then headed by Nehru, gave warm welcome, and he was also respected by the people of India. It is well known that our great leader has been far-sighted with his great vision, and he had asked his cabinet to introduce democratic principles within the structure of government. And by the same time, Kundun was also pursuing his Dharma education. And he was able to complete his Geshe Hanamba, luckily before escaping to India. His Holiness often mentions that he tried his best to deal with the Chinese presence with the notion of peace and mutual benefit. However, Mao Zedong and CCP soon revealed their motive to occupy our country. By assessing the situation, Kundun only found the option to escape to India. This was in March of 1959 when Kundun and his cabinet were able to make a miraculous escape from Lhasa. The Nehru government accepted and warmly welcomed Kundun and his followers. And soon after Gyalwar Rinpoche established the Tibetan government in exile, As he had already envisioned in Tibet, the government was structured with the frame of a democratic system. This had all the characteristics of a fully fledged democracy comprised of legislature, judiciary, and executive. With the kind advice and support of Nehru, Kundi was able to open Tibetan refugee schools where we were taught traditional languages and modern education as well. Some 80,000 Tibetans were able to flee in the early years. For the survival and long-time vision of those people, the Tibetan government found help from various states in India where they were given plots of lands, which later became called Shicha. Thus, many Tibetan settlements came into being, and a parallel project, many Tibetan monasteries and nunneries in India, Nepal, and Bhutan were also established. To the kind direction and tireless work of His Holiness, people and government, Tibetan refugees were able to thrive in India, and particularly by the early 70s, Tibetans started to graduate from school and universities and colleges. May I quickly point out that in the early 80s, Tibetans found some hope during Deng Xiaoping's rule. Kundun's elder brother, Galut Tundubla, was invited to China, and he even met Deng Xiaoping. Out of a negotiation, an open door system was created which allowed many Tibetans to visit India, and several Tibetan officials, delegations were also sent to Peru. On top of working tirelessly for the Tibetan people and nation, Gyalwar Rinpoche has been trying to enlighten in connection with such far-reaching visions. As a recognition, Kundi was offered the Templeton Prize in 2012. 2007, he was awarded the Congressional Gold Medal as well for his enduring and outstanding contribution to peace, nonviolence, human rights, and religious peace, understanding. Due to Kundun's effort, Tibet has always had support from the US government and other Western countries. For example, the Immigration Act of 1990 granted 1,000 immigration visas to Tibetans, which we now know as Chikong, which has now thrived to close to 20,000 Tibetans living in the US. Along with that, the United States has passed Tibet Policy Act of 2002, Reciprocal Access Act of 2018, and Tibet Policy and Support Act of 2020. And in conclusion, I would like to ask everyone to wish our beloved leader a very healthy and long life. And that was a brief Kundun's biography. I would like to discuss another quick resolution. As many of you know, recently DC la dela jor khare neta lairwa loda rashi chidu soba sama lo re la thamare re zongire thalo di nisani pachare mudi Washington DC la do dudachi December 7 and 10 bodo joira ani ngajogi neta itone ngajogi le mema sola da khare resolution lairwa de kyuchi khare samne ji shaw samso ani ngajo thalo gi jomdi di hale ya bo chungsura on resolution get thuyure ani odi memanya bochi share chiroshi songso ini ondi ani inge thoni jis thiokaswa. So these are the 8 resolutions from our NADA meeting that took place just last week actually. 1A, since Gyalwar Rinpoche's good health and well-being is our utmost importance, every community in all states must perform religious pujas as per the circular from Gade Phojang and the Office of Tibet, and as usual, we report our numbers to the office. In pursuit of realizing our natural cause, it's highly important that our people engage in virtuous karmic deeds, so we encourage local community to perform dharmic activities. So next year, 2025, as you know, Gyalwar Rinpoche will be turning 90 years old. The President Kashak has decided to honor His Holiness by dedicating the entire year the Year of Compassion worldwide, starting from July 2025. There will be several programs and activities announced by the Office of Tibet. Accordingly, we all must participate and give our best to make the year's program a great success. Main theme and content will naturally be about Kundu's visions of universal responsibility, guiding humanity on the path of compassion and oneness of the human race. And of course, his tireless work for our Peba people, as well as creating harmony and peace. Number 3, Tibet Resolve Act is now a legal document. Efforts need to be appealed to both federal and local authorities to further our cause. And annually, ICT will be hosting the Lobby Day, which they encourage participation from all states. Number 4, preservation of Tibetan culture and language is of high priority. In this regard, parents have a great responsibility, and equally part of importance are the weekend classes. Update training for teachers has been highly discussed, which will be more done in this year. Cartoons was also being implemented by the Department of Education. Number 5, SEC learning contains Gyawadan Bush's instructions on fundamental values. Portland Association this year will organize a C learning especially for the adolescent and teenage population, which will take place in August of 2025, targeting our younger generation. Number 6, educating public about the benefit of Green Book, the importance of that tool collection for the CTA, and which we are proud to say our community has a very good chance of doing that. Number 7, the meeting passed guidelines of action, and this document provides fundamental principles that should be followed by all of us. And number 8, NATA Conference 23rd will be held in Minnesota. And that is the 8th resolution. Hopefully I didn't bore you all. Pujanang, Samalola, Ani Tada Shena, Mabul Hayure, Pujishena.